Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 14 is entitled as Gunatraya Vibhaha Yoga. Sloka 15. Rajasi pralayaṁ gatvā karma-saṅgiṣu jāyate tathā pralīnas tamasi mūḍha-yoniṣu jāyate. After explaining the destination of those who die when sattva guna is prominent, Krishna continues about those who die in rajoguna and tamoguna in this 15th sloka. Rajasi pravritte, when rajas is dominant, though pravritte is not present in this sloka, we can derive it from the previous sloka. Pralayaṁ gatvā, if he dies, karma-saṅgiṣu, in the association of those engaged in fruitive activities, meaning in the family of persons who perform work for the sake of the fruits for themselves. Jāyate, takes birth. Yada, when tamasi, tamas is dominant, pralīna, meets his death. Tathā, similarly, mūḍha-yoniṣu, among animal species lacking in intelligence, like dog, pig, etc., where there is no possibility to know the nature of the self. Mūḍha-yoniṣu also includes vegetables. Jāyate, takes birth. Translation: when one dies in the mode of passion, that is rajoguna, it takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. When it says that when one dies in mode of rajoguna, when one dies in mode of tamoguna, as we already saw, pravritte, meaning when rajasi pravritte, when rajaguna is dominant. Similarly, when tamoguna is prominent at the time of death. So when one dies, when rajoguna is prominent, he takes birth among those who are inclined towards material progress, among those who are not interested in self-realization, but very much interested in the activities towards material gains. And these material enjoyment that they wanted could be in this world while they are living, or could be after they leave the body, so they can enjoy in heavenly planet. So one take birth among such families. Similarly, when tamoguna is dominant at the time of death, one takes birth in the species which doesn't have much intelligence. That means they don't even get a human body. They be born as animals in animal family or in vegetable kingdom. By this, one becomes disqualified to be engaged in any religious act. In Rajas family, at least one is engaged in activities that gives some fruitive results, karma. Here, one is not even engaged in things like that, because they can't do such religious actions. Henceforth, they are disqualified to achieve any purushartha, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. One may ask, what about Gajendra, the elephant? What about Nalakuvera, who became trees. Like that, we can take many examples from the history, but they all are exceptions. They have been cursed to be born as so, but the blessings are disguised in the form of curse, and that is not the case in majority. Therefore, we cannot consider those examples to challenge this sloka. From these two slokas, 14 and 15, we have to take an important lesson. We have to strive to be in mode of goodness, so that in the next birth we can avoid being born in families performing kamya karma activities, which will again produce bondage in the samsara, or avoid being born in the animal families and plants families. Instead, we be born in a family of great persons who knows the truth of life, about Atma and about Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Now the question is, how to avoid being born into the families of fruitive workers or the lower species? Answer: only if we have sattva guna. When sattva guna is in its highest level at the time of death, then we will not be born in such families as mentioned in the sloka. Now the follow-up question is, how to see that we have sattva guna at the time of death? Well, we don't know when we are going to die. Therefore, to become sattva guna at the time of death is very remote. We must prepare ourselves during the lifetime before we hit the deathbed. The easiest way that's been recommended by the scripture for one to cultivate sattva guna, to increase the sattva guna, is by taking sattvic food alone. One should not eat anything and everything, as we can see that the food plays a very major role. It directly relates to where we are going to be born in our next life. Things of this world are always made attractive, but one who is intelligent will not focus on short-term attraction, short-term enjoyment, joy, rather will focus on permanent enjoyment. Short-term enjoyments are related to senses and mind, which are temporary, whereas the permanent enjoyment is related to Atma and Paramatma. We need to preach to our mind to avoid food that are not sattvic. By eating sattvic food, sattva guna will prevail always, and at the time of death, one is ready to leave the body, sattva guna will be prominent as well. When the sattva guna is prominent, the person who leaves the body will be reborn into the families who are also in the mode of sattvam. By being born in such families, it becomes much easier for one to continue the activities in sattva guna, following the religious practices as prescribed in the scriptures. In the next sloka, Krishna will elaborate on the same topic. Rajasi pralayaṁ gatvā karma-saṅgiṣu jāyate tathā pralīnas tamasi mūḍha-yoniṣu jāyate. Namaste. Hare Krishna.